Now on PBS.
With the federal government cracking down on undocumented workers, immigrant detention has turned into a gold rush for the private corrections industry.
What is the next big profit-making frontier for these private prisons? What's on the horizon?
There's no question right now it's the immigrant detention boom. With the country all high-level concern about the issue of immigration, with Congress unable to come to any agreements about, constructive ways of addressing the issue. Immigrants in federal detention have become the fastest-growing population behind bars.
Last year, Immigration and Customs Enforcement deported 280,000 immigrants, and many of them spent time in private immigration detention centers, sometimes along with their children. Private prison companies like the Corrections Corporation of America and the GEO Group, formerly known as Wackenhut, charge the government about $100 a day per detainee. But while their profits soar, so does outrage over their ways of doing business. A Corrections Corporation-owned Family Detention Center in Taylor, Texas, made headlines last year after the American Civil Liberties Union sued Immigration and Customs to enforce minimum standards for children in custody. That meant eliminating prison uniforms, allowing kids to keep some toys in their cells, and to spend more time in school. Back in Colorado, we discovered that the first private prison in the state was this Immigration Detention Center built in 1984 on the outskirts of Denver. Wackenhut Corrections changed their name to the GEO Group in 2003. They declined our request for interviews and a tour of the facility, but we were able to find a former employee with a first-hand account of life behind these walls.
Most of them are from Mexico, Honduras, Africa.
Loretta Perry Wilborn, who has a degree in criminal justice, worked at the Aurora Center from 2000 until she quit in 2007, filing a racial discrimination suit against GEO. Although she can't discuss that case, she can describe conditions inside Aurora when detainees arrive for processing.
What's it like when detainees come into the facility?
They're put in a holding cell. Sometimes, they give them food. Sometimes they don't. Just depends on if you get an intake officer that cares. If a detainee's released or leave, you're supposed to take the mattress out, clean it off, and put it back. It cuts down on the germs. They don't even do that. Just here's your blanket, go in the cell. So when it rained, all the mop buckets all down the hallways in the dorms, and having to move detainees because the rain is dropping on their heads. It's freezing in the wintertime. They're allowed 2 blankets, but it's still very cold, and we have a lot of detainees that get sick, a lot of foot funguses.
Looking forward to a rising immigration market, GEO has announced plans for an 1,100-bed expansion, despite opposition from local businesses and human rights activists.
What does this immigrant detainee population signify to these privately held companies?
Well, money. And the more detainees they have that's coming in illegally, the more that they can detain and the more money they can get.